good.
That's not too crazy. All right. So we're live.
Cool. Awesome. How you doing, bro?
Live right now. Doing well. Let's. Did you throw your promo thingies out there?
Yeah, I'm about to throw them out right now.
All right.
I
Let's
got them in the draft, so
give a little 10, give a little 15 to throw the promos out there.
Okay.
Wait for everyone to come in right now, and then hopefully the mic quality on the stream's doing well.
Yeah, we should get some feedback.
Throw it on the socials. We know the drill. Just kind of what you do. You just gotta throw yourself out there, just in every single avenue.
Into the void.
Nobody might see it, but
who cares, bro?
As long as it's like one.
Yeah. Some words seen, bro. That's all that matters.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So we're gonna throw it out to the socials. We'll just wait for people to kind of pour in here before we get started.
Yeah.
When you do pour in here, let us know how the sound's going. A little sound check real quick, and we'll try to figure out this mic situation the best we can.
Oh, here, let me see. Let me pop it on my phone and see if I can hear it.
Our first viewer. I got my tree in the background right there. Lighting. All right, I think lighting's pretty good right now. I don't see any issues in the studio.
Yeah, the guitar in the back looks pretty good.
All right.
I got this glare that keeps popping up on my glasses, but I think it's my glasses.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Okay, let's see. I'm here. Yeah, no, it sounds perfect. Excellent. Yeah, we sound good.
All right, let's. I'm gonna let's do some promo real quick.
Yeah, gotta get on the Instagram.
Yeah, gonna figure out how to push this out to the live because again, I'm still figuring all this stuff out. So bear with us. Just wait a few minutes. Got dogs in the back. I love my dogs. That's my dog.
All right, Instagram's going up. This is gonna be fun, bro.
Yeah. No, we're crossing audiences over here.
Let's see.
Do you have a Instagram of your Mechanically Raw that I can promote, or just can I just promote yours?
Personal's chill. Yeah, personal's chill. I just added your app for YouTube on all of the posts too.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty fun, bro. I'm excited. Conversations like this are what matter. We need to be having them more.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna throw it on my IG story.
Yeah.
Get some people in here. See what we think. All right.
Are the Spurs playing right now?
The Spurs, it is half an hour into the Spurs game right now. They are playing the Phoenix Suns. I have not checked the score. I am going to predict the Spurs are probably up by 12.
We need that win. We're getting that win. It's our year. If you didn't know, it's our year. We're gonna go far.
I think we're fated to be here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anywhere else that we could be besides
with Wemby,
right here.
With the GOAT.
I mean, when you say GOAT, I understand that you're being hyperbolic, but this could be arguably one of the best basketball players to ever touch a basketball legitimately. And I don't know what to do with that information.
I think, it's real upsetting a little bit because, you used to have dreams when you were younger of doing real good at basketball and you went really hard. And then you get a little older and you see some 7'4" dude who can dribble better than you, and he's so big. Can dunk from wherever, bro.
And not only is he 7'4", he's graceful. And he's a graceful 7'4".
Graceful, respectful. Yeah, graceful is the right word, honestly.
The way that he just
good, yeah.
He just maneuvers through the defenses. He moves like a Jamal Crawford.
He's like a dancer, bro. Yo, he was training with Jamal Crawford. That's the thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that he does like the hezzies.
Right.
I remember you and I were both in person in the Dallas Mavericks season opener
game,
where he went off for 40 points.
That shit was good.
And we got to witness live on Derek, and I'll never forget this play. The block on Derek Lively. He comes down, makes him look like a middle schooler. Comes, takes it up himself. Derek Lively gets him on the other end.
You're right.
Tween, hezzy dribble, step back, hits the three and one. And it was a shot that you just knew was going in.
No, yeah. And the whole time it was unfolding too, I was like, oh my God, like he swatted him. And then he was bringing the ball up the court. I was like, he's finna, like, he's icing it out. And we were sitting with a bunch of Mavs fans and stuff, and I was talking, bro. I was letting them know, like, yo, he's going to swat it. And they were all hype about D'Angelo Russell getting in the game. And I told him, I was like, bro, by December, y'all are going to hate him.
D'Lo is a quality point guard if you are a team who is not looking to make the playoffs that year. Just not really going to trust him in a lot of situations. But when he was on the Nets, though,
oh my gosh,
the D'Lo Nets, the D'Lo Brooklyn Nets, this
Brooklyn
is a team,
was a fun team
that doesn't get talked about enough in history. They almost put it up on the Embiid Sixers.
Damn,
on the Ben Simmons Embiid Sixers.
They were fun, bro. They were fun. I mean, that was like whenever the Brooklyn Nets were what they were. That was low key. We were getting like a new renaissance of NBA meme culture and like videos and stuff. Like ever since that happened, the meme, like, because NBA memes right now, like historical artifacts. Bro,
it was great to be on NBA Twitter for quite a while. I think NBA Twitter is still going strong. Like I don't personally hop on Twitter anymore.
I don't got Twitter anymore either. There's a good NBA community on TikTok though. They make edits all the time. Like you'll see an edit of like LeBron James. And then it's Jerome Powell. And they're just like, it's like a highlight tape for Jerome Powell and LeBron James. Like the NBA community on Twitter, on TikTok is something else.
LeBron in the Fed chair might go crazy.
Yeah.
I think that he could just outpower everybody. Oh, how about I mute this on the freaking thing right there? Yeah, almost swore right there. Got to keep it monetized friendly for right now.
Oh yeah.
You know. Until I get big, who knows?
Hey, who knows, bro? As long as you keep going, keep putting out that work, that's the goal, right? Just to keep talking, and then people will listen, bro. People will end up seeing.
We're going
nuts.
We're going live 7 minutes right now. 0 viewers, 0 likes on the stream. We're hyping it up right now.
Yeah, we're going good though. I'm having fun.
We're checking out the promo, seeing who's tapping in, who's not tapping in.
Let me make sure.
We'll give it about 10 or so more minutes. Just get everybody.
It's going to be a good chat, though. We're going to be talking about Frankenstein. I hate to jump the gun, but that is what we're going to be talking about.
Oh,
and I'm excited. What is it?
Absolutely.
Because that book has been amazing for me. I feel like it's developed a lot of my understanding of things. Just because of how much it pushes you forward in like your thinking and stuff. So I really mess with it. I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm a goth boy at heart, bro. I am. I'll be honest. I am.
Yeah.
I'm a little goth grungy boy.
Name 3 Edgar Allan Poe poems.
But I got his book. I got a book of them. What is it?
We're good enough here.
Well, yeah, like grunge rap too. Like, what is it? I've been messing with grunge rap for a minute now too. So.
Well, Denzel Curry.
Oh yeah, it's Denzel Curry since like I've been listening to Denzel for a minute. Yeah, that was a pull.
Since 2015. Since Ultimate.
I remember people would be like, "Oh, he yells." Someone said that at school one time. He yells. I was like, "You don't get it."
That's the point.
Yeah, you don't get it.
No, he's like, yeah, because nobody else yells.
Right.
Like, he's trying to.
All he does is yell. But nah, yeah, I was like, that's my stuff. So Frankenstein's super fun. And then the movie just came out recently too. So haven't seen it yet though. Oh, let's go. We got somebody in here.
We got a viewer in here. We got a view and a like. We got 1 like on the stream. Let's see if our viewer can pop out and chat here.
Train, bro.
How we doing? I'm trying to figure out how we can see your name. You got to pop up here in the chat at some point. I don't know if we can see the names of our viewers popping in, but double our audience.
Dude, let's go.
Double our audience.
Hey, that's my boy Chris. Let's go.
What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, Chris is awesome, bro.
Excellent.
He's out of New York right now.
Your viewer. We got 2 of them in here. Say what's up, viewers.
What's up?
We got about 5 more minutes. We're gonna let some people pour in here. It's gonna be a good night. We're gonna be talking Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
The first ever sci-fi novel created. Fun fact. If you didn't know that, now you know.
Sci-fi's pretty good. What is it? Sci-fi, low-key the genre though. I like it, but sometimes like for example, Parable, The Sower, and Kindred by Octavia Butler are classified as sci-fi books. But sci-fi is really good at asking questions about like moral compass, about humanity, and we throw it under the science fiction genre. Like it's fiction, right? But like all the themes within science fiction are so real.
Yeah.
Like iRobot is science fiction, and we got robots coming out soon. You know what I mean? Like it's not really fiction anymore.
We have the whole I've seen that AI powered robot chore robot.
Yes, yeah.
So for our two viewers who are in here, if you don't know, this whole robot scheme. I don't know what company it is, and I'm kind of glad that I don't. I'm glad that I don't know at this point. But their whole pitch is they have this little humanoid AI thing, and what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to do your chores at home. It's supposed to like do your laundry while you're out at home. It's supposed to walk your dog, feed your dogs, right? Imagine it does all that. It does all that stuff for you. But here's the thing. The idea is that it turns into AI, right? The AI is automated. It does it for you. But right now they don't have the technology.
Nope.
They don't have the technology to do that. So what they have is essentially a tele AI robot service where the robot is essentially, how imagine like you ever seen those Megatron and Optimus Prime things at Universal Studios?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's obviously not somebody in the suit, but it's going to be somebody in the back who's controlling the suit, going like this, moving around and stuff. And that's what they're doing with these robots.
Yeah.
It's a teleservice. So there are a lot of security questions, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of who is looking? What access do they have? Mm-hmm. Do they know where my keys are? Do they know where my valuables are? Do they know the codes to my safe? Do I tell them this information? What kind of lawsuits are that open to? So like AI, right? Speaking of sci-fi, AI is something to think about, and like how much could we have thought about AI and its limits given what Mary Shelley told us about Frankenstein and ambition and people like, comparing Victor to somebody like a Sam Altman or a Peter Thiel who are just going to these depths and like changing humanity and like AI is going to change everything. And I feel like there's a lot of popular push for against AI, in both directions.
Most definitely.
I think it's the same conversation though. It's the same conversation.
Let's see. Oh, Frankenstein's the blueprint for Gothic literature. Yeah, that's it. What is it? It's a good point. And Gothic literature is very good to be talking about those themes with AI, like you were speaking about, because it's so grim. I don't know about y'all, but like whenever I see all of this stuff about AI and where it's going, where it's headed, it does feel very grim to me because I feel like we've seen this story a million times, and I'm like, why are we doing it over again? But
all right, yeah,
it'll be pretty good. So
yeah, I think this is a good. All right, so we're live streaming right now.
Yeah,
we're gonna pause like right here, so it's a break in the audio, so that way when you go back and edit the video, the audio waves are just like whatever. So just like, all right, introducing our first guest on our first show here on Humane Letters Live. Welcome everybody, our chat, everybody who's watching here on YouTube. We appreciate you coming by, coming through, hoping that you learned something after this time that you spend with us here today. We are going to be discussing Mary Shelley's Frankenstein because this is a place, Humane Letters Live, where we discuss literature, culture, philosophy, everything under the sun, the humanities, right? These are the conversations that we want to have in our societies, the conversations that make us understand so much about the world around us, about the people around us. And we can only do that sometimes when we tackle these stories. So today, the story that we're going to tackle today is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I'm so glad to have with me guest right here, known as Mechanically Raw, a Substack writer, cultural commentator, right? Today, we're going to commentate on some culture, on some classic literature. So if you could just kind of introduce yourself, explain your relationship with the way in which we interact with this stuff, your maybe background in here and what you write about. You say that you are like a writer on Substack. Maybe go into that, why you chose to write, and just, give us your story.
No, definitely. So first off, me and Cameron go back. What is it? We went to the same school together in Texas. And at that school, we got a good understanding of like, basically how to read stuff and analyze it and thinking through that. We read a lot of classical books, a lot of philosophy, and I felt like all those books and classes that we were going through really helped shape my perspective on just how to think about issues, think about the stuff that I care about. And so, fast forward to today, I went to college, and afterwards I was like, this is cool, but I kind of miss doing that. I kind of miss being active in reading and active in talking about the stuff that's going on today. And so started writing again recently, and it's been treating me really well. I like to write about, culture, politics, music, everything. But kind of, I like to do poetry. I'm working on fiction, and a lot of essays and stuff like that. So yeah, just like talking about what's going on today and what be happening. Because there's just so much going on, and I feel like at this time, it's kind of up to us to just have the conversations, open up the line of communication, speak out your thoughts, because there's a chance that you don't have the ability to do that, and so when you do have that ability, you need to use it. And so writing's been really fun and been getting me back out there. So yeah, Mechanically Raw on everything: TikTok, Substack, Instagram is my name.
Excellent. All right, so again, we're gonna be focusing on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And we have a chatter saying, all right, but random, but thoughts on the comparison of creation and destruction between Frankenstein and the Judge in Blood Meridian.
Whoa,
that's a really good comparison. I think that we can definitely get to that at some point. We're definitely gonna bookmark that, because we're thinking ahead at that point. We're comparing two pieces of literature. We're seeing similar themes in different parts of these things, and we're trying to figure out how they work together. We're definitely going to get to some comparisons when we talk about Frankenstein. So really good comment from Chris right there. So as we are discussing Frankenstein, right? So Frankenstein, talking about Gothic literature, Mary Shelley was an excellent Gothic writer, female Gothic writer. And she had a purpose of when she wrote Gothic literature. It wasn't just Gothic, think like Edgar Allan Poe. She said that her goal as the first, not only Gothic, not one of the first Gothic authors, but crossing over with science fiction, unheard of at that point. And her goal was, and I quote, to speak to the mysterious fear of our nature and awaken thrilling horror. One, to make the reader dread to look around, to curdle the blood and quicken the beatings of the heart. A fear of our nature, make us look behind our shoulder, right? You have a relationship with this text. Could you kind of first of all, explain what your relationship is with this text? I mean, you talk about questioning our nature, looking behind our shoulders. Did Mary Shelley accomplish her job here?
Yeah, so my relationship with the book, Frankenstein, I wrote probably my longest piece of work, and that was senior year. I wrote my senior thesis on Frankenstein, analyzing the humanity both in Victor and his creature. And when you read that book, it stuck with me for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one I think is because the images of the creature longing for his creator and walking alone and searching for him really stuck with me, because that is very terrifying. Walking around aimlessly alone, not knowing what's going on, but the reason you're here is ignoring you. And so Gothic literature as a vessel for portraying loneliness and loss, I think Mary Shelley did a perfect job with. It's the reason why we're talking about this story a couple centuries down the road. The story of the creature being alone is still one that hurts all of our hearts. And on top of that, Victor and his madness that he goes through, I feel like low-key the only medium you'd want to use is something a little bit more Gothic or maybe horror or even psychological, but to describe really what he's thinking, how he gets to that point, you have to be able to describe him in these somber extremes.
Oh, absolutely. You talk about these somber extremes that I feel like only Gothic literature can speak to. That emotion of melancholy, right? That's the emotion that you think of. It's not sadness, it's not grief, it's not loss, it's melancholy.
Right.
And that's just such a unique emotion, because it involves not a depression, but perhaps an isolation. Not a sorrow, but perhaps a loss, it's these in-between emotions that I feel like Mary Shelley explores. And you talk about someone like Victor Frankenstein, right? A protagonist who you feel like is just so unique, but also you see him walking around every day.
Yeah. And he's being normal amongst everybody. His friend, what's his name? Henry, right? Doesn't even realize, it takes him a little bit to recognize that something's going on with him. But it's just, a testament to, fighting with what's going on within yourself.
Yeah.
And trying to either, walk amongst people and live with it, or, actually work with it,
Absolutely. And we got another. You want to go ahead and read this chatter's message right here?
Yeah, let's see.
Number 1 chatter right now. Let's go.
Yes, that's my boy Chris.
Got another person, number 3 in the chat. We'll see.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, let's see. Oh, yes. Chris said Junji Ito does a great job of illustrating a lot of imagery present in Frankenstein. Intensifies the fear you're talking about. Definitely check out their version if you haven't. So that's a manga version. What is it? And he did recommend me to read it. And
really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No
you might have to pull up some images or something like that because it is crazy. We'll have to take a look at that. Checking out Gail, I think so much of the creature's sorrow and isolation comes from the experience of believing in his own humanity, experiencing it while others are actively denying his personhood. I think that's a fair point. Because to me, I think the creature certainly believed they were human, but almost like they deserved to be human, right? Everything about them was human, and they wanted humanity to be a core part of their identity, but everyone else around them was rejecting that. And that's not something that just the creature was going through. You know, if we look at people groups and different type of relationships among cultures, there are people who are treated like that. You know, you don't have to be a monster to be treated like that. Yeah. And so definitely something that, we want to take into account when thinking about the creatures, you know, all those aspects of who he is.
Most definitely. All right. So we're gonna look at all this just spawning from just interacting with the chat. Just 2 simple comments. Just like it's such a good conversation. So the key concepts we're gonna try and grapple today, right? We're gonna talk about Frankenstein as like a romantic response, like as romanticism response to Enlightenment optimism. Yeah. Like the Enlightenment science brought us so much good and so much evolution. I mean, we're really optimistic, but Frankenstein doesn't seem like an optimistic text. Why? We'll explore kind of why maybe that is. We had the idea of the modern Prometheus, right? Creation as rebellion, but also as maybe a warning to something. Yeah. What is that warning? We'll try to dissect it here. We'll try to figure out biographical and scientific influences like Galvanism, Godwinian rationalism, Shelleyan idealism, a lot more things with isms that sound, they're going to sound a lot more complicated than that. Anyway, and then mainly, right, how does Shelley redefine progress through moral imagination, right? Are we allowed to limit ourselves and what we think about? And do we have like a responsibility to do so in some cases? I don't know, stuff that we'll kind of get through. So we got our notes on the side here. We'll be switching back and forth. We're organized over here. All right. We're not just coming in here raw, right? We're organized. We come prepared. Exactly. So, okay. So like when you think about the historic time period, kind of starting with like the influences of Frankenstein, you have this idea of romanticism. It's very clearly injected into this time period. So remember Walden's Pond, Henry David Thoreau?
Yes, yeah.
The idea that in order to achieve like enlightenment, you have to go out and isolate yourself in nature, though. It was in nature. You have to isolate yourself in nature, away from society. Yeah. But it asks the question, do I have a responsibility to society, right? If society goes and raises you up, can you just up and run? Or do you have to go back? And if you up and run, can you really just live alone? Or is that like a good human existence, right? So it's a huge influence. And now a lot more scientific progress is happening around this time. Yeah. And that's not coming on the back of romance, because romance is thinking immaterial, religious, spiritual. Exactly. Yeah. Look at all the same things. Right there. So all that kind of stuff. And then science, rationalism flies in the face of faith, of hope, of reason. Rationalism is calculated. You can always count on it. Faith is the idea that you can rely on God, on the spirit, right? Despite any kind of rational thinking. So talk about that struggle a little bit between like rationalism and romanticism. What do you think about that?
What is it? The rationalism? I got more thoughts on that. Romanticism is a little bit harder because it's so... I do like the idea of contrasting it with Enlightenment, especially because if we look at what was going on in Shelley's time scientifically and, you know, stuff like that, and it's present today too. That story will be ever present because after the Industrial Revolution, we're always going to be going through changes like that. And so, but if we look at the romantic aspects of the creature and Victor, and like just the whole idea of them being of the creature being Adam and Satan at the same time, describing himself as that, sort of Victor casting away his own child. You know, those aspects of spirituality are very present within the novel, and it's a good way to contrast between the scientific stuff going on at the time, because whenever you have something so research heavy and I feel like academic, I feel like you need to describe it in ways that hit a little bit harder so people can like materialize it. Like, you know, your phone and your computers and all the tech that you have are all built a certain way, you know, and we think about how expensive they might be, but the expense, you know, goes down the line. The way we acquire those materials to build that stuff is so much harder. And so if we wanted to tell something about, you know, our tech today, we would have to use a medium that's a lot more spiritual and abstract and kind of pulling it away so we can think differently about the situation that we're in. Because once you get comfortable to it, it's not really gonna like kind of kick you as much as you want it to. But when you pull out of it and you turn it into something different, then you're able to like really hit hard with those questions. Like in Frankenstein, the whole thing is, can we make a human artificially, right? Artificial intelligence, can we acquire that? And the question is answered through saying yes, but this is what it looks like. And so rather than, you know, talk about it academically, you turn it into a story and you're able to answer the question, but also posit fears and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. And especially when you think about like nature and the idea of resources and where those come from, and finite versus infinite resources, and recognizing what's our relationship with like the planet, what's our relationship with the animals on it and the people within it. Like there's something of nature as this living kind of moral presence. It's really interesting that we think about the idea of Mother Nature. Like, we disturb Mother Nature, and like Mother Nature cries and has like a very emotional response. It's not like a very stern response or anything like that. It's like, you know, weeps. And then you talk about modern technologies and the resources that are necessary to get this kind of progress that's built on the idea of rationalism and science, and what the relationship is spiritually with nature, and kind of how that same thing is still here, where like nature, what is our relationship with it? Is it like is it spiritual in some way, right? Because like romanticism and the idea of like the sublime, right? That word sublime, especially if you think about authors like a Herman Melville, or like writing Moby Dick, and the idea of sublime, like catching the white whale, this idea of the ultimate thing, trying to transcend yourself, and it's obviously a symbol of nature, and they're out on the sea. But the thing is, when they get there,
what was the point? You know, like the consequences or the result of breaking your nature. Where really does it take you, and what do you get out of doing something like that? And you know, that's a really good line of thinking. Like, and I mean, that is the line of thinking: is do we go these lengths to acquire these things? Why should we even do that if that's the case? Why should we do the research to, you know, make a medial task so easy whenever we could just do it? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, what is it? I do like the enlightenment aspect of Frankenstein and talking about it in modern day, because if you think about today, we are going through a new enlightenment with AI and all the stuff going on with that. You know, there's so many new products that roll out, but not just products, but I would say lines of thinking. You know, all the tech guys sort of all kind of have like a line of thinking. They're all on the same wavelength when it comes to this AI stuff. And so, you know, these questions that are posed in Frankenstein are not, it seems like they might be universal. They might be able to exist so long humanity exists. Do you want to go that extra length to step away from nature and create something just because science said it might be possible?
Something interesting to consider, though, like whenever you think about AI, And if AI is going to exist, what should it be used for? And you think about like breakthroughs in medicine and medical technology and mRNA vaccines and efficiency of production lines and efficiency of research when it comes to AI. And like that can obviously cause so much good in the world. And the optimist thinks about that. The person I think with ambition and seeing like a positive thing about the world, about AI, is going to say, obviously we can see all of these things for medical purposes and promote AI. Like it has to be on these, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to utilize, but then you're like, maybe we'll be able to utilize the blockchain for something. And then you go, wait a second. And then like, what if we start transitioning into crypto? And then they start, that's like that rabbit hole, right? Because there's some people who want to, if you like, who really do want to use AI to innovate. There are also definitely some people who want to use AI to take advantage of other people the same way that you see these crypto rug pull schemes. There's going to be bad actors and bad faith actors, but
definitely,
so it's really an interesting relationship there.
And that's a little interesting with AI too, because something like I wouldn't ever describe, like, I guess you could describe a cell phone or a computer like that. Like if it gets in the wrong hands, of course damage will be done. But I feel like AI is the first time we've had like a new tech creation that actually poses a lot of benefits and dangers to our way of life. Like, sure, we'll be able to improve efficiency, right? Blockchains or efficiency in like supply chain, right? But then you also think about how many jobs could be removed when you do that. And then you have to think about what would be the impact of removing those jobs. For example, Amazon was talking about getting rid of 600,000 workers to employ robots, right? And they might actually see a lot of efficiency from that. But I don't know why the societal impact of laying off people for robots is not talked about enough. Like, imagine getting laid off because they made a robot that can do your job for free. The lingering aspect that's going, or the lingering effect that'll come from that situation, it will stick and it will have a mark on society. Similar to if you look at COVID, a very good example was COVID and how it changed our way of life so much. Gail said efficiency is not worth the human or environmental cost. I agree. And efficiency for what? The AI that we interact with in America is under the capital structure. And so their definition of efficiency is profit. I would assume making the most profit that you can based on how much your costs and expenses are. But efficiency, like, what can efficiency mean to different people? Efficiency in society, stuff like that.
To take a different side of that argument, right? What if I use efficiency and AI in my day job and it frees up 5 hours of my week? So I'm working 35 hours instead of 40 hours a week. What do I do with those extra 5 hours? What if I go read a book? What if I go interact with my family? What if I go spend them on the phone with people? I'm becoming more human. I'm connecting with other people, and arguably to balance out the AI interaction, right? I think that when you talk about responsibility and whether or not to use something, right, we can all talk about like carbon emissions and environmental things, but just kind of playing devil's advocate here, you can kind of say, all right, everybody's driving a car right now. We're not going to throw away cars, and I don't think cars are going away anytime soon. We can recognize the issues with cars. But
definitely.
AI, right? AI is definitely here to stay. Now, the popularity of it, depending on what happens with the corporations that are powering these AIs, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Sam Altman.
I mean, the AIs too, though, like, the philosopher would agree. The philosopher would want that to be the case where we can actually use this AI to do our, some of the more manual or harder tasks, so that way humanity can have more time to leisure. That's what the philosopher speaks about, leisure being the time when humanity really is at its best. It's when we are able to read, talk, sleep, eat, So more leisure would equal more happiness within our lives. But then you really got to think about a good question to ask is the cost of that efficiency, because the cost of each individual's efficiency while using the platform toppled with the cost the corporations are using to power those platforms, is a big question. And I would be agreeing with you more if we had a little bit better regulation surrounding it. Mm-hmm. Because if there were government regulations surrounding the AI, it'd feel a little bit more comfortable, right? But since there's not, they could throw waste wherever they want. They could do whatever they want with those data centers. And so that 5 hours you do earn personally, you will have that time to leisure in acting more human. But the act of offloading our humanity to a robot is something to be considered. Is it efficiency, or are we sort of taking away from the journey? Does efficiency always mean hitting the destination as quick as we can, or is efficiency going through the entire journey and coming out, on the other side?
I mean, whichever block you choose, it just feels like we are in such a future where AI is like in one hand, the next, like one of the biggest products on the market right now that like pushes efficiency in the future. And on the other hand, at the same time, if it's so productive and it's so useful, how come everybody's still working a 9 to 5? How come we aren't trying to figure out, like, and not to say that it's going to replace jobs of a 9 to 5, but how come we have this greatest technology for the richest country in the world, yet nobody is experiencing leisure? People are stressed out to go to work still. People have anxieties on Mondays, despite all these efficient things that are supposed to make our lives better. It actually makes us more anxious. When we talk about AI generated videos, right, of historical figures going up, people worried about misinformation and what they can trust and what they can't.
One, bro. That was crazy. And the whole thing too was like, it was like not accurate. Like it's not like legit.
Oh yeah.
It's not legit. And so,
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And they can do that, like, or they're not supposed to, but it's like, come on, like, we're being for real. Like, you can tamper with so much stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. But I do, on the other hand, though, too, I appreciate what the perceived goal of AI is like meant to be, which is going towards that efficiency. And I low-key would like more leisure time, not at the sacrifice at my job, but maybe like a few hours of it, right? But I do think that AI would be a good tool, good partner with humanity if our attitudes towards it were the right ones. But I think we're so like social media brain rotted and like online consumption brain rotted that like our interactions with AI are also going to go down that point too. It's not going to be like, yeah, sure, we got some that'll do work at your home or whatever, but like the most of the AI products that are going to end up coming out are going to be interactive ones that you either talk to, or they make something for you, or they make a TV show or something like that. Because that is the limit of our like curiosity online. Is this thing going to give me a video to watch, or is it going to give me something to interact with? And so I wish if we had a different attitude surrounding the AI, we could do some really awesome things with it. But at the moment, it's like, let's just make chat bots. You know what I mean? And that's neither efficient nor helpful towards us.
Yeah.
Not using it for the right thing. Time is instead consumed. Yep, consumption. Digital, physical.
Here, I'll let you take on this one for a little bit. I'm gonna grab a bite for us, actually. Grab something to energize us. We're not AI. We're humans.
Carb time.
We need something to get up. So go with that.
Let's see. Okay, thank y'all for watching. It's been fun. Been chatting. Let's see. Extra time doesn't go to human enjoyment or growth in most cases. Yeah, I would agree. That's kind of what we got going on, but we can't like be like, no, well, we shouldn't do it because that's not what people do at the moment. I think a goal would be get people towards that track, get people working towards there, so that way we can, hopefully enjoy more of our time when pairing the AI with our lives. But that's not what it is right now. You're right, but hopefully it was. The greed of capitalism and need for constant competition will never allow for AI to be fully utilized efficiently to allow for leisure in our day-to-days. I agree, but what can always happen is they could always fail. Right now, there's a big conversation around the AI bubble and in the financial market, and like whether it's real, whether it's gonna pop, or whatever. And I agree with you on the one hand, but if we can limit a monopoly structure, right, then low-key there might be more ways that we might get closer towards it. Because we have the one main one, like we got OpenAI and NVIDIA, those are like the mains.
Oh yeah, we're cracking here.
We got OpenAI and NVIDIA as the mains. But like let's say they were to crash, their economies were to crash, their companies would go around or they get split up or whatever. Now you got so many different ones that hopefully somebody is doing the right thing, right? But again, do people do that in capital structures? Fair question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what type of piece is this?
I think we just got like Supreme
Dream.
I feel like I've been rocking with Supreme a lot more. Triple meat. I think I've outgrown triple meat at my age. At my big old age.
I'm still on triple meat. I'll be honest.
Oh damn, bro! You know what? It's because you're not 25 yet. Once you get
that frontal lobe hasn't hit yet.
Once you hit 25 ung status, you literally have to eat Supreme. If you eat a pizza without a veggie on it, your body just like rejects it.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that point of life, bro. I'll be honest. And I think I'm living in denial right now. I think it won't happen to me. But it's coming. I'll be drinking water. I'll tell you that.
You have to, dude. I already got gray hairs coming in. It's pretty ridiculous.
I kind of want like a gray afro, low key.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a gray fro would go really hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So if we want to move on, I think now would be a good time to talk about the act of creation, moral failure.
Yeah. And by the way, chat, just like jump in at any point. Again, we got a lot of good people. Bro said it won't happen to me, and it is being 25.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, but that's the denial we live in, bro. COVID just ruined my time perception. So, yeah, I don't see it. You know, it's in the future. It's a future me problem. Let's see. Okay, so this is one of the main questions too that I wrote about in my thesis was I was analyzing monstrosity and humanity and what those two look like. And
why don't you just give us your thesis real quick? Just gonna give a rundown.
Okay, yeah.
To give us some context.
Let's see. So, this is 18-year-old me. Well, technically 17 to 18, right? I was writing it my senior year.
Okay, yeah, crazy.
Let me think of why. I chose Frankenstein because I just mess with the story so much, right? It's super good. But I think the main reason I wanted to write about it was because that question about humanity. And we have so many characters today, just like Victor. And so having that question about humanity and what it means to be a human, et cetera, is a really good conversation to have about a lot of leaders, a lot of people with money, stuff like that. But yeah, looking at my thesis, I have a portion where I established the themes of monstrosity and humanity in the story, established those definitions so I can talk about it when analyzing Victor's character. And then I analyzed the creature's character as well. And I did a few pages on both of those characters. And my conclusion was basically that the whole point of the book, right, is to look at differing views of humanity, what it means to be human at a depraved state, at a state of high moral consciousness, and also putting those two together. Because when you look at Victor and the creature, they're really supposed to be sort of the same thing. At least to me, I read them very much as a connection of one another, but they're, broken at some point. And so, and you have to analyze those two together to come to any conclusion about humanity in the story. But yeah, I was rereading it and I was like, an 18-year-old definitely wrote this. And I can't remember correctly, but I think I turned it in like the night of too. So
yeah,
that ending, we wrapped it up quick. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think just kind of like building on that idea of like humanity and monstrosity. Excuse me. That idea of humanity and monstrosity. Because like this creature has so many names in the text. It's not just the monster. It's not just the creature. Like it's the daemon at some point, right? Mary Shelley uses this term daemon. There's often this language wretched. It's like this wretched creature.
I like creature. I like to spare his feelings. I like to be a little more respectful towards him.
Yeah,
so I say creature.
So so Damon. This use of Damon and wretched. Like think about where you've heard the term wretched before.
Yeah, that's an Elden Ring build.
That's an Elden. So Elden Ring, olden times,
and the wretched has nothing but a club.
Wretched has nothing but a club. Yeah. Very savage, right?
Yeah, very savage. They were only in their undergarment, just like the creature. Basically naked, waking up.
Where else have you heard wretched before?
Wretched. Shoot. I don't know.
Could it possibly have been at church?
Ooh.
Talk about the wretched.
Yeah, talking about the damned.
Tell me about it. Where have you heard it?
Yeah, what is? I mean, they talk about wretched Satan in the Bible all the time.
Satan's wretched.
Wretched people living wretchedly. Acting in wretchedness, I would say.
So let me ask you, why do you think Mary Shelley is using the word wretched to describe this monster here? If we're applying this to Satan, if we're applying this to people, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, honestly. And well, refresh me. At what point is she describing him as wretched? Because I remembered Damon was Victor. Victor was calling the creature Damon after after he killed William or something like that. I think that's whenever he was trying to escape from, or he was in the mountains, and that's how he described him.
So the word wretched is specifically used by Mary Shelley to create parallels between the monster and Paradise Lost, which is an epic poem by John Milton about the story of Genesis, about the fall of man.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, the fall of man, right? It's the story about how Adam and Eve forsake God, ate the fruit of knowledge, right? Talk about somebody eating and consuming knowledge that they're not supposed to have, and then them being struck down by their ambition for going and gaining this knowledge. Excuse me. And then meanwhile, all of a sudden, you have this creature who is not from their place. And I don't know if I have to. Let me see if I can non-text you with this. Explain the wretched. This creature who is not from their place. It is not made in the image of God. It is not made as human, but it has consciousness. And it's innocent at first. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't know any better. It's just created. And it seeks to have a relationship with the world around it. Seeks to understand its creator. The closer it gets to understanding its creator, the more wretched it becomes. So much like Satan in Paradise Lost, the more that he seeks to understand God, the more that he can't have God's knowledge. So in trying to pursue that and trying to overcome God, he becomes cast out, cast down, right? But the story of Paradise Lost is Satan essentially trying to rebel back up.
Right.
Because after he's been cast down, so the idea of wretchedness is surrounding the story of Paradise Lost when it comes to Milton. Okay. Right? So the idea of wretched is Milton. But also, man is wretched, Satan is wretched. Right. They're imperfect because they are made in the image of their creator, but they lack so many fundamental things that their creator doesn't have. So that's, I feel like when you talk about the idea of, is Victor inherently evil? Should he have morally known better? I don't know. Do you think that a person who is just scientifically ambitious can be labeled evil? Because people who do human experiments on things for vaccines and different kinds of products that help humanity, they could do evil things. But the question is whether or not they're justified in doing those things, right? So is Victor evil for pursuing his ambition, or is he evil for doing it in the way that he does? All right, I talked way. I did a word salad right there. Let's see if we can mix it up.
I think also when we're talking about Victor being evil, is it evil to advance towards scientific progression? I wouldn't necessarily say yeah, but maybe what your means might be pretty evil. If you're doing something pretty nasty like Victor, that might kind of be seen as evil. But I think for Victor specifically, if we look at the circumstances that even cause him to create another being, like it's so much pain and sorrow, bro. Like him losing his mom really put him through the ringer, and he never really fully recovered from that. And a little cool fact, Mary Shelley, well, I guess not really cool, but Mary Shelley, there's a lot of historical background with pregnancy, childbirth, and just having children. I can't remember if her mother passed after she was born, or maybe it was a little bit while she was older, but Shelley lost her mother as a child and then lost a child when she was pregnant as well. And so there's a lot of themes surrounding pregnancy and having a child and creation. And I feel like Victor losing his mother was like going through it so much after losing that feminine block in his life, that he like had to like create something new to just kind of cope with losing his mom, right? He had to create another being. And I remember in the story, there's a lot of he has dreams about his dead mom, and just the way he, sort of operates in those dreams, how much they scare him after the fact. I wouldn't know if I would really call him evil for trying to make something so unnatural. Because even then, like, I feel like if he made the creature and then he didn't run away after he made it and they like had a conversation, like, it could have been a more chill story.
Yeah. Paradise Lost mentioned only in my all-time favorite text when we're diving into that. It says, the wretchedness of this being seems to bring to mind the idea of original sin. But this isn't a creature by nature of being man-made that can be redeemed. That's the question, right? Can a creature not made in God's image be redeemed by God? Something like that. They described Ebenezer Scrooge as wretched as well.
He was a little douche, bro. I'll be honest. Scrooge was kind of a douche for a little bit. I was like, bro, like, you need to chill out a little bit.
I mean, in duck form, he was swimming in some money.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck had the whole And by the way, the physics of that, I never like when you really think about that. There's no way that he doesn't just do that and break every bone in his body.
I've always thought about that. Honestly.
Swimming in gold doesn't seem even remotely fun.
You don't think about that when you're a kid too. Like you're like, why are they even doing that one? It's supposed to be an image, right? But it's like, why are they even doing that 1 and 2? How do you even do that? And then you're like, oh, you can't do that.
It's like when you're a kid, you're like, I think that the greatest thing in the world right now, like at this second, I know I'm only 5 years old, but if we could get like a whole swimming pool full of Coca-Cola,
yeah,
like that'd be great. And then as an adult, you're like, that might be the messiest, stickiest, the most disgusting day of my life. If I had to swim in Coca-Cola get in my hair, and I'm not talking Coke Zero. No, I mean like syrup, corn syrup, Coca-Cola, swimming in that.
See, this.
Would you rather have to create Victor's dead body, or create the Frankenstein again, or like have to swim in Coca-Cola once a day for the rest of your life? I think these are the real questions we need to be asking.
So first,
we ask important questions.
But so first of all, first things first. Both things will be in your life the rest of your life.
So
the creature will forever be there, and because the creature didn't die in the story. The creature could be immortal. There's no telling whether
you don't have to follow Victor's arc though. You can just as easily just kind of like talk to it reasonably. Like you get hindsight.
Kind of raise it.
You can, yeah.
But
or
then it's like
you get a daily bathe in Diet Coke. Or no, sorry, Coca-Cola. I don't want to give you the out with Diet Coke.
Yeah, I think I would have to go Coca-Cola because I can't handle
every day.
I can't handle every day having to put together a body. That stuff Victor was doing was gross, bro.
No, you do that once.
Oh,
and the
like
monster.
A bender, and then
no. So you make the body once, and the monster's with you, or you swim in Coke every day. Are people in the chat? What are your thoughts? Would you rather swim in the Coca-Cola every day, or recreate the monster and just kind of have to raise it? I think that's a good question that Mary Shelley wanted us to consider.
See, or and dude, if you made the creature and you were actually gonna raise it, what if it wasn't a good experience? There's so many things along the line that would go wrong that like, why even put up with it? You know what I mean?
What if you're what if you're like, nah, I just read Frankenstein, and I feel like my ultimate conclusion is that like Coca-Cola. My ultimate conclusion is that, wow, I should love this monster regardless of who he is. Yeah. And so you look at the monster and you're like, I know what you look like, I know what you smell like and everything. I know that you can actually are really eloquent. And then you take him in, and like 3 weeks in, you're like, this guy's a loser. Yeah. Like he sucks. Like he can't. He doesn't know ball. Yeah. He thinks the Mavs are gonna make the playoffs this year. He thinks that like he enjoys watching Shea shoot free throws. Oh, like, what if he has really bad ball takes? Are you still ethically obligated to take care of him at that point?
If he's got bad ball takes, though, that's kind of on you as a parent raising him. Like you, the team you go for as a kid is usually with the team that your parents are on. You know, like I'm a Spurs fan because I'm from San Antonio. You know what I mean? Like that's who we go for. That's who my parents go for. And my dad's a Dallas Cowboys fan. That's who I go for. So like, if he's got a bad take, low key, that would be on you, bro.
So if you're just like born like Frankenstein is, do you get to choose which sports team you join, or do you like he was born in Geneva? Do they have to like do they have to follow the Geneva soccer team? Like if they were, he was made an Arsenal, does he have to follow Arsenal? Or are there obligations there?
I think he'd be like one of like low key if he had a good childhood. I think he would be like a quiet kid who really didn't care about sports. Like I think he would love a drama club. You know what I mean? Like the creature would love drama. He would love like joining like debate club or something. Cause he loves talking, bro. And he was like sitting there like listening real closely. Like I feel like he would love that.
He'd be the guy sitting in the back, like in 7th grade, reading Nietzsche before all the other kids and being like, you don't understand what reality is gonna hit you like, all because like the Chad jock stuffed him in a locker one day. And he's like, Stacy rejected me to prom, and I'll never find love. But he's actually like, he's one of those guys where if you just comb his hair and take his glasses off, he's like a handsome guy. A little bit better. That's exactly who this monster
100%, is. 100%. Like all that's wrong is that home life ain't the best. You know what I mean? Like what's going on at home ain't the best. And so he, you know, he would be chilling in drama, bro. I feel like he'd mess with that, but. Yeah, I would. I don't know. I think I would do the Coca-Cola bat too. Just gonna say that might be the best thing to do.
I got a text from someone who will remain anonymous, so that they're clubbing on Halloween. It is Sunday. It is Sunday at 8:30.
November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Halloween done passed.
It is literally.
Hey, we went out for Halloween too, though.
I really hope that you have some kind of Mexican heritage, because you can say Dia de los Muertos if you really wanted to stretch it. But that's I appreciate your honesty, and that's insane. I love that.
Yeah, but it's hey, Halloween was pretty lit around this time of year. Saw a lot of good costumes. I saw some dude dressed up as the Epstein Files. That was lit. I saw online someone dressed up as a demolished White House. Cool stuff. Halloween went crazy this year.
I did not participate. I have a costume. I have an Achilles costume in my closet somewhere that I use for literary character day at one point, but alas, it will not come back into construct. It will not come back into fruition until maybe next year. Got to work on the physique for the Achilles costume. I haven't quite earned it yet. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotta get that demigod physique.
Yeah, that's the issue. I'm just kind of like average Joe from the Iliad.
All it is confidence, bro.
Octilides. Like nobody remembers Octilides, bro. Why? I just made him up, and you believe he was a character of the Iliad.
I did, Loki.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Let's see. I feel like conceiving a child presents similar challenges to making Frankenstein, and I know that commitment is beyond me already. Yeah, I think
early,
right? And again, like one of the big things about Mary Shelley is that idea of pregnancy, childbirth. Like that is a theme that exists throughout her life. So I think we have to read the story as one like that. And on top of that, I think maybe like it's sort of like single parenthood is a good example of what I guess raising the creature might be like, but also just like carrying a baby, or maybe having to carry one. might be a good way of thinking about that. But yeah, dude, like having the creature, or it's so crazy because the creature was so innocent at the beginning, and for something so scary to be so innocent. Human nature tells us that's not the case. Bears look innocent, but we know to not mess with them. And so to see the creature being like super chill towards you, and you're not, but like you're gonna instinctually feel like you gotta run away.
Yeah. Well, think about like God create like conceptually. Think about God creating something, and just like what that whole process is like. Like imagine having to create life if you believe in the Christian line of thinking. Imagine the process of like having to create somebody with free will and being omniscient and omnipotent and knowing that they're going to falter, but still creating them with that like capacity for evil. And like we think about our own survival, and then you think about like from a parent's perspective, you gotta have faith that your child's going to do something good in the world.
Right, yeah,
Victor like didn't even start off with that idea of faith. He just kind of saw and just said, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be this. And like, when you think about a lot of like possible scenarios when it comes to people feeling essentialized about like who they are this one thing because somebody has told them what they are before they've had time to figure out who they are. You talk about the idea of like going back to like God's creation. So Victor was talking about like his creation and like the pursuit of knowledge and what that was to him. And the way that he describes it is like he describes it like with a serpent's sting, right? Now go back to our earlier conversation about Paradise Lost. Serpent.
Yeah.
Devil, right? Stinging him. So when you think about comparing the monster to either like Adam, made in God's image, or Satan, who was cast out. If the serpent stung him, if Satan stung him, then is he blaming the monster for all of this? Like, the serpent is the one who stung him, or is like knowledge the serpent that stung him? And like, what does it mean about like knowledge stinging us and it being like mainly in a negative context? Because like, I feel like we naturally want to pursue knowledge in some way, but now it's a serpent that stings us.
Yeah,
what's going on there?
The saying "ignorance is bliss" is a thing for a reason. It's because whenever you don't have knowledge about certain things, it feels better. Almost majority of the time, I would say too, unless it's like math or something. Whenever you gain the knowledge on a subject and you really see what the major players were, why these results happen, yada yada, then your knowledge it's a bittersweet. And I think that's kind of why we would describe it as that sting, because gaining that knowledge, it hurts more than it feels good, but it's important for your growth as, a person or whatever. And so the creature sort of getting stung with this knowledge too about, I don't know, I guess about who his creator is maybe and how he came to be. But even then, I mean, like, how much knowledge did Victor really give the creature on how he even made him? Like, it's still up in the air how the creature even came to life, which there are plenty of discussion about how the creature came to life, but it's almost like Victor don't even know. And so the creature still isn't even getting that knowledge that he so desires, but the knowledge of just talking with Victor is enough for him to be like, gosh, like, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you actually put me here. Like, why would you even want to put me here? Because I remember specifically there are like these 4 pages in the middle of the book whenever they're talking on a hill or like in a mountain, and the creature is like pouring his heart out of Victor. I'm talking like, my life has been terrible since you've made me, and all you've ever done was abandon me. And Victor is like low-key like writing bro off.
I got it for you.
Yeah?
It's in the beginning of volume 2, chapter 1, like the 1818 text. And the monster says, do you think, Victor, said he, that I do not suffer also? No one could. Oh, no, I apologize. This might be, this is Victor's father talking about Victor because William had just died. I believe it was.
It's volume 2, though.
It is certainly at the beginning of volume 2. He says, we have it here. because he starts speaking so eloquently, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time you hear the monster speak, and he speaks so eloquently.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Be calm. I entreat you to hear me before you give vent to your hatred on my devoted head. Have I not suffered enough that you increase to seek my misery? Life, although it may be only an amalgamation, an accumulation of anguish, is dear to me, and I will defend it. Remember, thou hast made me more powerful than thyself. My height is superior to thine, my joints more supple. But I will not be tempted to set myself in opposition to thee. I am thy creature, and I will be even mild and docile to my natural lord and king, if thou wilt also perform thy part, the which thou owest me. O Frankenstein, be not equitable to every other, and trample upon me alone, to whom thy justice and even thy clemency and affection is most due. Remember that I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel, whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed. Everywhere I see bliss, from which I alone am irrevocably excluded. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous. There's a lot there to unpack about relationships and what it's due, and the responsibility of a creator to a creation. Excuse me, to a creation in some way. What do you think about that?
My favorite part about that monologue is he starts off with "Be not afraid," and then says that he feels like a fallen angel. And if you're familiar with the Bible at all, angels always say when they pull up on people, "Be not afraid," because their vision is so scary, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're starting off with this idea of the creature being like an angel. He's describing himself as an angel, and then as he goes on, talking about just overall feelings and how it feels to be casted out by your creator, he goes into feeling like the fallen angel, which of course would be Satan. Mm-hmm. And Satan is a really good or a really good model sort of to base the creature off of, because if you think about creating the monster, like Victor didn't create, like, of course the monster's scary because it's a natural, it's not really supposed to be alive, but he would describe it as beautiful when making it. He was heavy into anatomy. He was trying to make it look like he's building his dream man, right? And so the creature isn't, I would assume, like a very ugly thing. Mm-hmm. It's probably just scary to see because it's super pale, it's glossy, but it's not like ugly, right? And so same thing with Satan. Satan's whole thing is, being kind of normal, being a chill dude, and knowing the Bible really well. And, they kind of got similar characteristics in that front.
Yeah. I mean, and then you even zoom out on the narrative itself, because we've obviously been discussing Victor and the creature. We still have Robert Walton, right?
Yeah.
The character of Walton, and what he contributes to the story as well. Mm-hmm. Because at first, Frankenstein starts off as an epistolary novel, a novel of letters that are sent between Walton and his sister, right? And the idea of like what an epistolary novel does, it breaks up time. It allows things to happen in the background. You have to assume a lot of what the characters are doing. Mm-hmm. And so it comes off as like uncertainty. And then eventually you see the evolution of how Victor Frankenstein comes aboard and like tells his story. But at the same time, right, Walton is like enamored with Frankenstein. Yeah. And Frankenstein is like, be nothing like me at the same time. So when it comes to like Walton, Victor, the creature, and like the idea of responsibility, and like who like you obviously like want to, when something bad happens, the natural human instinct is to assign blame to somebody or something.
Yeah.
So like the creation of the creature and its downfall and Victor's downfall, right? We want to figure out, is it their faults? Whose fault is it right here? And then at the end of the story, you have Walton, who, like, what does he do with this information? Does he continue his pursuit? Because like he's trying to figure out what's happening at the North and the South Pole, because historically that's where all the magnets are leading. That's where like every magnet points north. So what happens? And they're really into magnets at this point in time in science. Yeah. So why do all magnets point north? Why are we trying to head there? And what lies? They thought that it was like this ethereal, celestial land.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It was a land of everyone who reported it. It said it was a land of pure white. It was a land of purity, right? It was all that. And when you think about heaven and what people think about heaven, like, of course it's heaven. And so now people are like, we found heaven, and it's where the magnet points north. And so Walton is on this journey to fit in the Arctic because he's at the North Pole, because of the poles, and that's how it happens. And
that's where they end up.
Exactly. They end up in the poles, they end up freezing to death. So the question is, like, does Walton continue his journey even though he's seen what happens with Frankenstein and his monster, right? Because Shelley writes him to be this ambitious character who's young and pursuing knowledge, and then he's like an everyman character. He's like a Jim in the office where you could put him in this situation and everyone feels like it's them. So, like, I don't know. Do you think that Walton should or shouldn't, like, pursue what he does? And, like, Shelley maybe making a commentary on the pursuit of knowledge. What do you think about that? Just kind of like wrap this segment up, man.
Yeah, I think Walton is a good subject to really think about, because that question about does he continue on the journey, which I would say probably right. He's gonna do it. There's probably a lot of money backing him up, and there's a lot of money in reaching the destination. He's gonna make the journey, and I think what Shelley is really trying to do is show the infinite ambition of man. That no matter what, you could tell. Victor told that dude his entire sob story. Told him everything that happened, bro. I lost my brother. I lost my girl. I lost my life. And Walton's still gonna be like, dang, that's crazy. But, like, I gotta try too. And so I think maybe not, it might be a very masculine thing, but I think it might also just kind of be a little bit of a humanity thing too, is that ambition, how far does it take you? And why don't we ever listen? Why don't we ever learn the right lesson when approaching this ambition? And I think it might be because that ambition is a little bit unnatural. It's a little bit unhealthy. And I think that might be the masculine aspect that Shelley's talking about, is that unhealthy ambition towards some scientific goal or whatever it might be. I feel like sometimes dudes can get really unhealthy with, just striving to, like, hit certain goals and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's be honest. Frankenstein was cooked. Oh, wait. Am I reading this whole thing? Oh, yeah. You created me against my will in such a monstrous way just to live a life of solitude. Yeah. Yeah, bro. That creature was spitting bars in the book, bro. And, like, you wouldn't... Whenever he said, like... Because he learned just from listening. And it's like, bro, that thing is super smart. You know what I mean? Talking about, like, artificial intelligence and stuff. He made a very smart being that could interpret the world around him on a very high level, which is mad scary. And that's why he's so eloquent, which is scary. I think that was a red flag. Shelley did a really good job at illustrating. What resonates with me about that monologue is how real it feels. It's a conversation that could be heard in society today from a vast amount of reasons. Another level of horror the story highlights. Yeah. And what is it? One of the reasons we're talking about it today is because I saw online that someone called Frankenstein's creature an incel. And I was talking about that because I felt so disrespected. I was like, are you serious? Like, an incel, like, if anybody would be an incel, it'd be Victor, right? But the reason I would see someone having that thought is definitely because of what the creature is saying. Like, he is speaking, it feels kind of vindictive. He kind of has a tone of revenge, and that's something that he ends up pursuing later. But, he does have, like, this sort of sense of, like, it's just very real. It's very raw, the conversation he has with Victor.
And when you think about the term incel, like, do you mean it literally or do you mean it culturally? Because there are two different definitions right here, right? Because an incel, literally, an involuntary celibate.
Right.
By creation, by definition, he's an involuntary celibate because he doesn't have anything to procreate with.
Right.
There's nothing in his nature.
Technically is.
There's nothing in his nature to procreate. So by creation, he is an involuntary celibate. Don't get me wrong. But point. Culturally, what we mean, right? Because there's prescriptive and descriptive language. Like descriptive is what we use to describe. Prescriptive is how we use it.
Okay.
Like descriptive is our dictionary definition. Prescriptive is like, what does yeet mean? Right? There's no dictionary definition, but we use it for a reason. So when we talk about incel, we use incel to somebody like who is commonly antisocial, who doesn't really have a lot of, if they are antisocial, their contact is online in misogynistic circles because they don't talk to women. They aren't in women's spaces. They aren't in anybody's spaces besides their own.
Yeah.
And I feel like the monster himself seeks to be in spaces that aren't his own, seeks to understand people who don't look like him, who don't act like him, and welcome them. And he like listens to humanity, and he reads books about tragedy and about empires and how they fall, and he cries for them, and he begins to develop these ideas of ethics and virtue and vice from reading like all these different texts. Meanwhile, Victor, like he has such a what's crazy is that Victor is so privileged.
They're rich, bro.
Victor,
they are rich.
Is one of the most privileged characters in all of literature.
Yeah.
He talks about how good his professors are, the relationship that he has with them at a prestigious university. His dad has a lot of connections. Like just because he isolates himself doesn't mean that he's poor.
Yeah.
Like you would think that he is poor because he's sick, because he associates sickness with poverty, which it's really interesting when you think about that at a moral level, how much we associate sickness and poverty with morality, and whether or not you're a good person if you are in poverty and you are sick in poverty. Well, if it's your fault or not, right? But regardless of this, Victor comes from a place of status, and he pursues his own ego, and all these professors they're telling him that, like one of the professors is saying everything that you learned in the past, you need to forget it. Let's look at the new tropes of science.
Right.
And the other one says, if you look at the new tropes of science and combine them with the old, you might actually achieve some wisdom here. And he goes down and essentially just becomes this super modernist way of thinking without considering anything else. So his own incel behavior is like, he doesn't listen to his family. Like Elizabeth writes him all the time about how longing he is, and he has to go back outside. What's funny is he's an incel because he feels better every time he goes back out in nature. Literally touch grass. He goes and touches grass, and every time Mary Shelley tells, like, there's a motif of nature, and every time he goes and he's out in nature, he's healed because he knows he's on. I don't know. I guess I have my interpretations, but why do you think he's healed in nature?
Well, I mean, he's kind of like the modern day scientist, right? Like, or the modern day mad scientist, I would say. Because all those descriptions, like, you just sound like you were describing Sam Altman to me, or like Elon Musk, you know, like those dudes are not incels by like definition, right? But they are low-key wrapped up in that culture. But they also interact with that culture in the ways they want to, you know, like they don't have to be fully into it. They can pick and choose what they want. And being of that higher economic status, that's kind of, you're able to achieve that, especially with science. And so,
absolutely,
like he is kind of like, he is kind of incel, but I don't know. It's just more mad scientist, more like ambition driven, going for reaching unnatural things. And I guess unnatural in this sense just means it hasn't happened yet, right? Because if he's able to create a monster, and I know the whole thing is unnatural, being in nature ends up healing him, but you know, he was able to do it. He made it happen. And so how unnatural is it for him to do something that's within his capacity? If he was able to accomplish the scientific endeavor and create something, then even though the means he did it was unnatural, the output looks unnatural and the way he feels is unnatural. But I feel like him being able to complete the action kind of gives some credence towards it being natural, it actually being something he could do. And so, but that's why the descriptions are there, because he was able to do something unnatural, but engaging with the outside nature and touching grass is what ends up making him feel better, which is what ends up making him feel complete. And so I think, yeah, he was able to do it. It's in his nature to do that, but he's not supposed to. You're not supposed to do those types of things. It's just kind of feeding the appetite that doesn't need to be fed, you know? And I think that's what Shelley's trying to show with nature and unnatural, is that to describe something as unnatural kind of puts it in the same category as the nature you're talking about. And so just engaging with unnatural or describing something as unnatural is not really saying it's not real or doesn't have any like pull in the real world. It's not like a legit thing, but I think more of sort of like a depraved mindset, losing out in humanity, I think is what unnatural is actually supposed to mean there, and would explain a little bit why him going outside and existing in the natural actually kind of healed him a little bit, because isolation and doing what he was doing was, you know, he was like in a depression, in a depraved depression or something like that. And so going out in nature just is gonna help anybody, you know. Touching grass is a legit thing, you know. If you're feeling down, go outside and you might feel a little bit better. Go touch a tree or something, and you honestly might feel a little better.
Speaking of natural, I feel like there's kind of a natural place to maybe take a break on the stream a little bit. If you've been listening in, thank you so much for tuning in. Go use the restroom, go grab a snack, go get some water or something. We might be doing the same thing right here. Figure out how we can get this overlay set up. Last shot that we see in Incel is crazy. I don't disagree with you right there. So we'll see what we can do right here. We will go over here. See if we can just mute for right now. Our audio is going to be off for a little bit. We're going to see if we can take a quick break right here. All right. This is the part where I figure something out as I'm doing it. So you can see the process of how this is done. This is on no strings left loose. I'll let you entertain the chat real quick while I figure this out.
All right, yeah. Let's see. Let me think. I've been thinking about. We're gonna go on some tangents right now. We're gonna step away from Frankenstein a little bit, because one thing I am currently writing about. I'm writing about it right now. But if y'all remember, around September, Drewski had that NASCAR video where he was a redneck at NASCAR, right? And I remember seeing that video, and like, yeah, it was funny, right? It was funny. And I think he approached it with some reverence, but you know, I was thinking like, this is definitely going to invite bad actors, right? It's definitely going to invite, I feel like, the wrong type of crowd, especially because, you know, comedy is just something so subjective that some people who see it as, you know, funny might find it offensive, right? And so I was like, bro, someone's gonna do the same thing as Drewski, but you know, the opposite, you know, blackface. And lo and behold, Halloween rolls around, and you got some people doing it who are like on Piers Morgan, bro. Like they used to be on Piers Morgan, and they're doing it. And so I've really been thinking about just, you know, whenever you're pushing comedy and you push it, like how far. And this is a good question, you know, with ambition and stuff like that too. You know, how far should you be pushing certain conversations within comedy, because we don't want to open the door up to talk to so many different people about, you know, something like that. And so yeah, just something I've been thinking about recently.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you, everybody here. It's in the chat, about 3 people in here. When we come back, we're going to be discussing morality in Frankenstein, the humanity of the monster, and this man's thesis and what we think about it a few years after it. All right, thank you for joining us right now. Enjoy yourselves in the chat, communicate with each other, start the conversation. See, one already left as soon as I say we're stopping. We're rocking it out over here. Thank you, or 2 who are still rocking with us, and we'll see you back soon. Oh! Get that a little greasy. Hold on. We're going to take you on a journey here. On a journey with something to wipe you on. You got a little cloth somewhere? Oh, you get to see the setup. You get to see the absolute chaos that is this thing over here. Here we go.
See what that looks like.
Yeah. A little one time. That's what you get for eating and doing that. Let's set you back up right here. All right. That's as good as we're probably going to get. That's not bad. That's not bad right there. All right. So we are back. Comparison. I'm thinking about, since Paradise Lost was mentioned, this idea of divine punishment. In Dante's Inferno, we see an exploration of divine punishment due to moral failings, but in Frankenstein, Victor is punished by his own hubris. Does continuing to seek scientific advancement constitute playing God? That's a fantastic question. And really do you tackle this question in your thesis that you're kind of here to talk about? We'll switch this portion. It'll be a little bit more like an interview at this point. I want to ask you a lot of questions about your thesis. So real quick, I think you can definitely tie this chatter's question into what you're saying here. But kind of like walk us through your idea, what your kind of main point was, and like, I don't know, what do you still think about it?
Yeah, so divine punishment, first of all, is a great question. And again, too, like whose punishment is it really? Because sure, the creature is being punished, being created and not having a life, whatever. But it's also kind of Victor's punishment as well, too, for creating the creature. He is the one who loses family because of that creation, too. And so I think if we think about, that's just a good question. That's a good question.
Keep thinking.
But yeah, what is it? My thesis, whenever
if they keep watching, they're gonna complain.
Yeah.
See if I got.
Oh my gosh! Way better.
Yeah, perfect. Damn. There we go. Look at that. Our viewers over here getting a way different view of the thing now. All right, go ahead.
But let's see. So I got my thesis pulled up right here, and I guess what better way to figure out what I was saying than actually look over a little bit.
Maybe just say it.
Yeah. So I got section 1, introduction, establishing the themes of monstrosity and humanity. And if there's some basic stuff, I'll skip over real quick. But let's see. Victor tells Robert Walton the story of the creature he made from dead matter. The creature he creates becomes a fully rational and intellectual being that turns on Victor because of his treatment and the treatment from the humans he encounters. Because of this treatment, the creature believes that all of humanity despises him because of his nature. The novel explores many themes and topics, but the most pressing is that of humanity. What does it mean to be a human? Mary Shelley posits this question through Victor and the creature he created from the dead matter. Both the characters exhibit attributes credited to humans, but also seem to be deficient in humanity. The deficiency present in Victor and the creature are parallel. Victor shows a deficiency in his mind and the creature in his physique. What these deficiencies result in is a separation from humanity. Victor sees himself as separated because of his mind and intellect, but is really separated by his ambition and madness. The creature is separated from humanity because he does not have the same physique as humans and is thus seen as horrific. Here, Mary Shelley is presenting the problem of the structure of humanity. So I feel like that's a pretty good portion right there to really get what I'm trying to do with the thesis, and that's analyze deficiency in humanity, analyze what it means to be a human, and what does it look like whenever certain things about your human compass are, deficient or, they're not good. And so, continuing on a little bit, Shelley explores the meaning of humanity by introducing humanity and monstrosity. Humanity is what it means to be human, more specifically, acting in accordance with human nature. This is where you could tell an 18-year-old wrote it, because my definition for humanity has human in the word. So I'll low-key, that's some minus points on my point. But continuing on, to be human, the organism must obtain the key attributes of a human, the rational and the physique. These two qualities of humanity consist of human interaction and relationships, exercise of language, holding a steady mindset, and being created as a human is created. Once one of these is compromised or deficient, then the overall humanity of the human being is tested. Monstrosity in Frankenstein relates to the things being against one's nature or against nature altogether. Monstrosity in respect to humanity, however, comes whenever a human is acting against human nature. So I think I want to see what you think about being deficient in a certain aspect of humanity. I listed human interaction, relationships, exercise of language, holding a steady mindset. Is this a good way to sort of start thinking about humanity in the book? Or is there, is this 18-year-old kid writing the story missing a little something from their understanding?
I think it's interesting to describe social interaction as like a deficiency, because I have to figure out, where do those deficiencies come from? Like, do we have a deficiency of social interaction? Like, okay, we can have that, but is that because we don't see anybody or we don't live by anybody? Like, where are we? Are we isolating ourselves, or how are we being isolated? Right, asking these questions, these critical questions about context and what that means about us. And when Victor thinks about himself, I don't think that he seems to have when he thinks about himself, he doesn't have a deficiency in anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to like when he reflects upon himself, he
doesn't see anything wrong.
No.
Right.
He doesn't really understand what he is for a little bit, because he has so many people trying to figure. He doesn't know. All his professors are he's so influenced by all these, like Cornelius Agrippa and like so many of these other ancient philosophers and scientists.
Yeah.
And they were also like if you followed the same kind of paths, right? The extraordinary world and stuff like that, you may lead you to something like alchemy, which then you get to, like, if you believe in alchemy, Yakub is around the corner. Like he's watching you with his big head. But like Victor, the way that he self-isolates, I don't know what it's a deficiency of, because it might be. Ultimately I think it's a deficiency of love. I think of love. I think of love for himself. I think of love for his creature. I think of love for Elizabeth,
from his mother.
From his mother, right? Because Elizabeth is the romantic interest in the novel. Question mark.
Yeah.
Like how interested is Victor in Elizabeth? Is it for utility's sake? And so when you think about love, right? God and creation, right? God made his creation, but the difference between Victor and God is that God, in the belief that Christian made it with love,
right?
And that Victor never actually loved his creature,
never.
And so Mary Shelley doesn't say, "Don't make the creature." Mary Shelley says, "If you do play God, do it correctly," which is love.
That's a good, That's a good question. That's a good question. I think I want to clarify. Gail said, "I'm curious, does your thesis mark the difference between being human and being a person?" No, I think what I was more exploring was, as a human, what it ends up happening whenever you do not take care of yourself in these certain aspects. When you're not social, when you're not healthy, when and I think that's what I meant by physique, is health and overall, like, how you come to be. Those instances, I think what I'm trying to go with the thesis, and we'll see as we continue on, but it's about what happens to your humanity when you become deficient in those areas. Are you still human, or are you less human? Not like, on a right sake, but more mentally. What really are you? Do you change when you go through some of those things? But yeah, if we continue on, monstrosity is shown in Frankenstein in two ways. Victor's madness and the creature's physique. The madness presented through Victor is ambition. Because of his ambition, he is unable to use his rationale. Since Victor cannot use his rationale, he continues his immoral act of creating the creature. The scientific advancements Victor made during his ambitious period are immoral because he is creating a creature like himself, but the physique is atrocious. More importantly, Victor is creating a new creature that is not originating from nature, but from another organism. The physique in the creature itself is monstrous. When opening up to the normal world, all humans are disgusted by this form. Even the creature himself, who has no conception of beauty in the early stages of life, sees himself as hideous when he looks in the water reflection. So, if we're looking at monstrosity within ambition of Victor, he's overly ambitious to create the creature. And if you read some of the text, I saw this recently, the way he describes pursuing the knowledge of creating the creature and just bringing it to life is very obsessive, and like it's weird. It definitely didn't sound like the way it sounded whenever I first read it, but he's overly ambitious, he's overly obsessive, and it ends up bringing this immoral aspect out of him, which I think happens with all humans. If you are over obsessive over something, or maybe you don't have self-control regarding a certain subject, it'll bring out the monster within you 9 times out of 10, right? And I think that's really what I'm trying to get at as an 18-year-old. And then the creature's physique, I kind of got a little bit of smoke with this description, because I don't think the creature was really created to look as ugly as I described, but rather scary, unnatural, maybe what's the word for whenever something has the face of a human?
Uncanny.
I think that's really what the creature looked like. And so,
but speaking of what the creature looked like, and what do we think about this comment? I feel like when he sees his reflection is one of the creature's most humane moments.
Yeah, seeing the reflection, I don't know how anyone could read that and low-key not get sad afterwards, because he like scared himself with his reflection, like. And that's kind of like looking in the mirror and not recognizing yourself, right?
Yeah. If we have anybody in here who's knowledgeable about Paradise Lost, could you maybe give us some background knowledge on this idea of reflection? Are there any characters who reflect in Paradise Lost? Maybe even reflect in a pond in Paradise Lost? We'll see. It's who would have thought? It seeing his reflection feels like a direct parallel to Eve's discovery of herself in Paradise Lost, which is interesting because we have the woman figure discovering herself in Paradise Lost here, and then the monster looks at himself in the pond. I think there's another parallel to Genesis, a parallel to the Paradise Lost here, like the reflection of the self and like what you look like and like the emotions that come from discovering yourself for the first time. And Eve is the one who ate from like the tree of knowledge, so like self-discovery is like she's discovering things for herself and making self-discovery at the same time.
Dang, that's crazy. And I mean, it's the same thing that happened in the novel too. I mean, he crawls out of well, he wasn't in a cave, was he? Or was he just in?
He made a little hovel for himself,
right? And he crawls out of there and then sees himself all in like the matter of like a few minutes. Whenever the sun's like burning his skin and all that stuff, like because he's just not accumulated to his environment. So that's really cool. I can't wait to read Paradise Lost. It's on my Christmas list. I will be reading that soon. But let's see. Okay. Moving on throughout the thesis, we got the analysis of Victor's character. So let's see what I had cooking over here. Starting from the beginning, Victor's curiosity and ambition have already come into motion at a young age. He has come to realize that, quote, the world was to him a secret which he desired to divine. Curiosity, earnest research to learn the hidden laws of nature, gladness akin to rapture as they were unfolded to me are among the earliest sensations I can remember. Victor's realization of his curiosity for the laws of nature along with finding the works of the German scholar Cornelius Agrippa, led to Victor's pursuit of natural philosophy. Again, that theme of unnatural, natural. This love for natural philosophy accelerated Victor's feelings towards the, quote, secrets of nature, which can presumably be the secret of life. Important to be noted is that Victor becomes obsessed with these secrets of nature. He says that the sensation he receives from learning of the secrets of nature are the earliest sensations he can remember. And these sensations are what drive him to pursue natural philosophy and eventually alchemy. But to be led to creating a creature with life, one more thing needed to happen in Victor's life to fulfill his eventual destiny. Once Victor's mother died when he was 17, he was filled with the thought that death was evil. This feeling comes from the experience Victor had after his mother's death. So what is it? That part about his revelation and remembering what discovering the secret of life was like. It's very what's the word, like it's just a little, he's just got a lot of passion for it, I guess. He's very passionate with it, and it's a sign of being overly ambitious, I think, within his character. Mm-hmm. But we're just looking at his character as a whole. We see that his mother died, and this is what he says after his mother passed. I need not describe those feelings of those whose dearest ties are rent by that most irreparable evil, the void that presents itself to the soul, and the despair that is exhibited on the countenance. Once his mother passes, Victor is filled with hatred towards the natural process of death. Because he is unable to accept the natural process, he believes that he must find a way to reverse it. From this instance, we see that Victor has a hard time of accepting death as a type of destiny that all humans will go through. Because of his new thought point, Victor sees death as an evil done against humans. Once he has decided that death is an evil, his destiny is sealed. Death, along with his ambition and love for natural philosophy, drive Victor towards creating the creature. All these events contribute to the creation of the creature when Victor is under the age of 20. I don't know. I guess that's right. I guess that's a good point. But imagine being younger than 20 and putting together a monster. Along with his upbringing, the creature, the creation of the creature, and Victor's life after the event need to be thoroughly analyzed as well. Okay, so moving on. Victor's love for natural philosophy matured as he got older, and the love became a newfound love for chemistry and human anatomy. With the hatred of death still in his mind, Victor decided to take his studies to the decay and corruption of the human body. Victor's most essential discovery was the discovery of life, or rather, how to bestow life on inanimate objects. Quote, a light so brilliant and wondrous, yet so simple, that while I became dizzy with the immensity of the prospect which it illustrated, I directed their inquiries toward the same science, that I alone should be reserved to discover so astonishing a secret. Victor's most important discovery is the actual discovery of the principle of life. So I guess, low-key, I think I was kind of underselling, because I think 18-year-old me is so far spitting low-key when it comes to describing Victor and analyze, or kind of trying to just read who he is, right? Mm-hmm. Because to even discuss whether, is he monstrous or is he a human filled with humanity, you kind of got to look at like his full character and see like what the whole deal is there. Mm-hmm. But let me see if I can.
And which part of his character is the real character? Is it whenever he's under stress, and whenever he's like sick and not building the monster, or is it whenever he's like alone? Mm-hmm. And like I don't know. You have to ask the question, like, did this change him, or was he always bound to be in this direction because of his ambition?
So what is a good line of question, because I go to the conclusion of this section, and these are the last couple paragraphs. The question then becomes, what is the nature of Victor? Victor shows elements of being a monster and of a human, but does he possess a different nature? Through analyzing Victor's intellect with his physical body and its creation, the conclusion is made that Victor is a human with monstrous tendencies. And look, this is why definitions are so important, because they can carry a point so far. Like, what does monstrous tendency even mean without defining what it means earlier before, I kind of get into it. And so Victor's nature, upon my conclusion, is that he's a human, right? But he obviously does not have the self-control nor the desire to live, kind of chill. He's monstrous in his ambition towards science, in his revelation, in his pleasure of creating things. And so I went ahead and described him as monstrous. A human with monstrous tendencies. And I can already tell you the creature is a parallel. The creature was a monster with human tendencies. And that parallel is so important to understanding the core of humanity. Both of these characters are proficient in one side of humanity, but not the other. Victor presents as a human. It looks like he was born from his mother. He looks like a normal type of person, but he doesn't act like one. He's kind of mad. He's kind of insane. And then the creature is the opposite of that. The creature was put together by a madman, but he is able to live his life out for a little bit more virtuously, I guess, or with like a little bit more self-control, a little bit more reverence. And again, you mentioned earlier, Victor was very privileged growing up. That is kind of related. The creature grew up with nothing, and the creature cares about his experience and what's going on and stuff like that. Let me see, but yeah, that is. So that's the analysis of Victor's creation.
Oh, we got a question saying, is the divine punishment Victor receives for playing God more ironic, since he should know better because Paradise Lost canonically exists in a fictional world? Should Victor receive his divine punishment because his homie got the manual, saw it, looked at it, and threw it out the window? What is his relationship with God?
Ooh, his relationship. Well, I mean, he thinks he is him. I mean, or maybe not so much thinks he is him, but definitely acts like he can do what God does. And I don't know, like, that's funny, the question you posed, but honestly, it's fair too. Like, all that stuff was around. Do you really need a Frankenstein story to tell you not to do the scientific thing when that story already kind of exists? Mm-hmm. When that lesson has already been learned and you just are going to learn it again. We still go through the same thing. Scientists today creating things to see if we can do it, but not learning from the lesson that they should have previously learned. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Victor would. I can't remember specifically within the book, but from my understanding, he was God in the book. He was, besides nature being God. It was always storming when he'd go outside after doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And then he'd go out and feel better. So I think nature would probably be the God in the story, but Victor, I would feel, kind of sees himself as God.
Mm-hmm. As your viewers can see, yawning a little bit. We're getting late. We're wrapping up around here. It's getting close to our bedtime. We are ung status right now, at our young ages right now.
Yeah, we're getting up there.
We're staying up late for y'all. We're sacrificing here. Pretty brave of us to stay up here. How about you? How about you drop a like and a sub on the stream?
Go like, bro.
Go check out Mechanically Raw on Substack, on TikTok. It's at symbol mechanically, like the word mechanically raw. Read it for some free verse, some thoughts on culture, any kind of that. We'll talk about Frankenstein, all kinds of that.
Yeah.
Liked on the stream. If you could drop a comment on the stream right now, chat, all that kind of stuff. We're trying to get to the point where, perhaps we get on average 5 viewers. Look at that. Now, everybody in the chat here, 2 people talking to each other. Imagine if it's 5. Imagine all the conversation we can have with more people. But anyway,
thank y'all for joining. Really,
the last question I wanted to end off on. So you talk about what we like to do here is we like to connect all this stuff to modern times right now. So we obviously started talking about AI and ambition and whatnot, and these people who are these leaders and these entrepreneurs and these tech people. So AI is obviously trying to push itself as a promise for the future. When it comes to regulation, we really don't see a lot of logistic and legal regulation right now. There's not a lot of policy that's guiding it. Do you think that maybe this isn't something that's policy guided but human regulated, that eventually we will just kind of reject this sort of thing? I see people, a lot of people right now just not accepting AI as a part of their normal everyday lives. People feel like it's being forced right now. A lot of corporations aren't actually seeing a lot of return on investment when it comes to investing in these AI programs. Is this something like the future? Is this something that we should be ambitious about? And do you think that there's just something inside the human spirit that just pushes past the idea of this is too much? Is there something that tells us that this is too much? I don't know.
Well, that's a great question. Because I think what you really see is people don't like it at all. What comes to mind is that ad in New York City of the AI friend, and people were just tagged up all the ads in the subway because there is a mass rejection of AI in social circles. But they are adopting it a lot in corporate world, and like you said, not really seeing that return on investment. But it's interesting because I think it's not going to go anywhere. It'll be here for the time being, and there's going to be some forms of it that stick and won't go away. You know what I mean? And something I like to think about when I'm thinking about AI is like, you think about going from writing by hand to the printing press to the typewriter, then the computer, whatever, right? Probably some things in the middle, but people lost their jobs over those new creations. But I don't know, and maybe I just wasn't around for the creation of the laptop, but I feel like the AI that's coming out today and posing this like big technological advancement is kind of might be one of the biggest we've ever seen, and so seen, right, or perceived. And so the effect it's having on the people and the culture, I feel like, is a lot greater. Like, I can't think of like people back then freaking out because the printing press got created, but now AI is created, and we're low key like, you're either optimistic or afraid. You've seen all the movies and stuff, and now we're like, oh my gosh, did we actually make something that?
Did we make Skynet on accident?
Yeah, like did we actually? Right? Yeah, like did we make something that'll take us out on accident?
And if so, who's gonna be our John Connor?
Right.
Who's going to be the person who's going to save us from this? I mean, you have people talking about the Antichrist in these circles.
Right.
You have people who are projecting trillions and trillions on revenue, and meanwhile, they're profiting $16 billion. I'm talking, of course, about OpenAI, who I don't know if you saw, they are soon becoming an openly traded company.
They're dropping an IPO, right?
They are soon dropping.
Started as a nonprofit.
One of the highest estimated IPOs.
It's 11 trillion, in history. Right? Yeah, I think it's 11 trillion, maybe.
I'm not exactly sure what it is.
It's something stupid, and I can't believe it because what is like OpenAI is ChatGPT and Sora, and it's like
that's about it. Those are
and it's like what are you really making money off of? Besides defense contracts at this point, because like I don't see it playing out. Like what product? Because in capitalism, you have to give a product. You got to make a commodity. And when we're talking about AI, like what product or commodity are they giving us besides a search engine and something to make TikTok videos on? And it's crazy because I don't know how they can open up with such a large valuation and kind of not have as much to prove. I feel like as other tech companies really do.
And Google still gets 96 times the traffic as a search engine compared to ChatGPT. So when it comes to competitive search engine markets, ChatGPT is not quite neck and neck with Google. So you have all of these completely ambitious billionaires who are telling you this is the future. This is what's going down. Here, look at all the things that we can do.
Right.
And then you have these people who, I mean, like humans who are pushing back and saying, I don't know if we want to go this far, because the question is, who asked for this?
Yeah.
Like, who wanted this Sora app where you can make anything at your fingertips? Who asked Victor to just go and dig up these dead bodies and make something like this, right? Just because somebody died doesn't mean you have to figure out the cure for death. It just means you got to figure out what it means to be a human a little bit. And I feel like maybe if you allow AI to grow a little bit too much, the same way that Victor's ambition grows a little bit too much, you might lose a little bit of your humanity. So don't forget to touch grass.
Yeah,
Go outside.
and who's to say that the AI that exists, the AI robots we see on the Sora videos are not, already kind of going through the same struggles that the creature went through. We don't really have a full understanding of that yet.
Mm-hmm. And are they conscious? Who knows?
Yeah, it could, and not even just conscious too, but like their energy and data. There's stuff moving around. There's stuff interacting with each other, and I feel like it's definitely, even if the creature may not always be physical. The creature may be what exists in our minds when using the thing. Mm-hmm. And so, who's to even say that the creature doesn't already exist, isn't already a part of us? I feel like he definitely is already.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I think we're gonna call it here. Thanks for coming by. Yeah. Thanks for tapping in,
super
man.
Fun, yeah.
Appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back here on stream at some point. Again, Mechanically Raw. Go follow on Substack. Look at that. We got some reaction. We got at least one heart, one viewer, one like. Hopefully, we get at least one new subscriber. We love our chat viewers. Everybody in here, thanks for stopping by, and again, go check out his channel. Go sub to this one, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.